Okay, our next motivational theory is Lawrence and Norria's 4 drive theory. So you can see from the study design, we're now onto the second of these theories. Okay, it's the 4 drive theory from Lawrence and Nohria. We're going to cover that in this lesson here. So hopefully a nice visual look straight away at what this theory is about. Big surprise, there's drives in here. These are the drives that drive people, that motivate people to achieve things. So people, humans, have drives. We're driven to do things. And there's going to be 4 of them in this theory. So as you can see here, Lawrence and Nohria came from the Harvard Business School of professors, and they introduced this theory looking at what drives people to achieve things. And so the idea, again, that there's a business application. Once we understand how people tick, what drives them, we can make sure those things are embedded into a business to allow people to be motivated to achieve things. Now, the 4 are drive to acquire, bond, learn, and defend. We're going to take each one in turn so you feel happy, not only with the theory, but how we can apply it to a business. Okay, so let's take the theory first, okay? The first one, the drive to acquire. This relates to, obviously, the drive to acquire things, materialistic goods, okay? We want goods and services in life, okay? And this is the drive to go out and get them. So you want to acquire things, that's a drive that you have. The second one, bond, okay? Bond, if you think about it, it's about connecting things. So this is about relationships. This is about forming long-term relationships with people, with the community, with people that you want to connect with. So bond, we're driven to find connections. The next one, this one's an obvious one. We're driven to learn more things about the world around us. Our desire to continually learn new things comes under this drive to learn. We're driven by this. Then the final one, a drive to defend. If you think about defending yourself out there, okay, you're being strong about it, but also defending others that you care about. This desire to defend yourself and those for whom you care. Now, those form up the 4 drives that they believe all humans have, okay? So this is where the 4 drive theory comes in. Humans have 4 drives we want to try and achieve. First of all, in the theory sense, how do we remember that? Okay, how do we remember these 4 drives? One, it's got 4 in it, okay? So always remember there's 4 drives you've got to remember. How do you remember them? A little bit of an acronym here to try and help it. And maybe this picture, okay? Maybe you're out there and you're hoping to have your very first car soon. You're driven to acquire the car. Picture here shows someone bonding with the car, making a connection and a relationship with the car. And you want to defend that car. You don't want other people to get away from you. And you're getting your learners right now to actually be able to drive your car. So this little visual picture hopefully puts it together. Acquire, bond, learn, and defend. The 4 drives of this contingency theory. So now we know the theory, how can we apply it to business? So let's take each one in turn. The first one, if we're driven to acquire things, okay, and we want goods and services in our life, then how can a business help achieve that? Well, obviously, if we're driven to acquire things, we may need money to do that. So part of this theory comes down to salaries and wages and having remuneration. It's a word which covers wages, salaries, etc., commissions. All forms of payment will allow you to go out there and acquire things. So that's going to help you drive your performance. Also, you might want to acquire recognition, okay, from people. You're trying to acquire things and you get rewarded with incentives for doing well at something. If there's a culture of reward and recognition within a business where people get given bonuses to go to the cinema or to have a special night out or go for a weekend away and you're rewarded with that, that's a way of going, okay, I'm acquiring things in my life. I'm getting goods and services that help me. Also, promotion. And having prestigious job titles means you're acquiring status from people. You can have a higher level of income. You can go out there and buy things with them. And if your base pay of the business is higher than others, you're going to go out, okay, I've got more money to go out and buy things. So this is all about acquiring goods and services. And clearly this can be a big drive for certain groups. In this scenario here, we have a stockbroker. Now, if you think of, you've ever seen The Wolf on Wall Street or the Wall Street movies or any of that collection, okay, they're driven by the hunger to get things, to get money. So this would clearly be a drive that they experience. And this would be a high focus for these type of jobs. So if you want to motivate people in these type of professions, then we need to really focus on providing those type of incentives to help them achieve that drive. The next drive, the drive to bond. Remember, this is all about forming long-lasting relationships, okay? Connections to people, connections to the community. So how can we build that into a business? Well, we can create those opportunities for connections. We can have regular morning teas. Every Friday we have a morning tea, or for birthdays we have certain celebrations where everyone comes together and we've got a birthday cake. So we're creating opportunities for those social connections. We might do special events like a sort of a staff function or an employee Christmas evening out. We might have special social interactions which are a part of the whole way we operate. So when we build that regularly into the business, we can allow people to fulfill that drive. We might take workers out on special team building programs, and we might try to have all of the employees feel part of the business by having a suggestions box. Or if they make a suggestion to the employee, that it gets listened to and embedded within the business. All of that helps build a connection where we feel a sense of community and relationship to others. Now, if you think of this stockbroker scenario, probably that's less of a focus than the drive to acquire. If you've watched those movies or you've got family members in this industry, it is a very driven industry. But people still have these feelings. People still have these drives. So it might not be as strong as that drive, but we still need to try and embody that within the business so that people can have a connection allowed to be within that working experience. Let's apply the others now. Okay, so how can we apply the drive to learn in a business context? The theory is that individuals have a desire to learn new things, and we need to allow our employees to do that, to learn new things, whether it's theoretical or a practical application of it. So send them on training and development programs to get better skills, better qualifications. They can do better on the job. They're going to learn something new. We might have mentors. So you might be assigned with a more experienced employee who can show you the ropes into how to do things a bit better. So you learn it for yourself and you get better at it. You might have experienced that in your part-time jobs. Job sharing, where a couple of people share that role. So you get to learn from their experiences. And so people go, okay, I found this better way of doing it. Or this is a newer technique that I've tried that's really worked for me. So again, we're learning new things. And by setting employees very challenging goals that they have to try and get those new skills to try and be able to perform that task, that also will allow them to learn. Okay, so this drive to learn is within us, and we can create that within the business. If we take that stockbroker scenario, we could team them up with an existing employee so they can learn the ropes from someone. We could allow them to go evening classes and pay for that within the business so that they can study about how markets move. We could set really challenging goals for them, that they must get a certain level of business within the month, which again is going to set them out on a pathway to learn new ways of doing things to achieve that goal. So yes, we can definitely within a business help to facilitate this drive to learn. This last one here is the drive to defend. Now again, as a recap, remember that's defending themselves and those for whom they care. So it's a protection type thing. So how can we apply this in a business situation? Well, obviously, we've got to create the scenario where we're defending our own rights and defending those people around us. Okay, so that's obviously the theory we're trying to embed in here. So defending the company is like sort of part of it. So if there's an opportunity to go, okay, we're really proud of our business, we're going to defend the brand, the image, the logo. It's associated with really good things. So if our business is associated with a charity and we're very proud of that, that's defending the rights of the business and we've got pride in its values. It's going to be very different than if we're in a business which is seen to have a very negative effect on the environment or society or customers. Also, if our terms and conditions are sufficient that we don't have to complain about anything, that we're in a really good situation, then we're going to be, again, very proud that it's been supported. So standing up for oneself, having managers role model defending and looking out for staff is going to be really good. Employer of choice. If you haven't heard that word before, it's where a company is seen as almost like sort of a pivotal company where people are desperate to work for them. So for companies like Google, where they've got almost like a long-standing line of people who are desperate to get in there. They've heard that it's really exciting company to work for. It's very creative, has good terms and conditions, it's well paid. Those companies become an employer of choice. We want to try and work for them. Now that's great for the company because they get to choose from all these wealth of people that want to be on there. So they're going to get the very best and the brightest and almost like self-fulfill that idea of this is the place to work. Again, if we're proud of that company and we want to work there, that's again, we're going to defend our community and those that are part of it. If we have our safety and job security position and pay rate, if it's above the average and we pay people and make sure that they're safe and well looked after, again, they've got nothing to complain about. They don't need to defend themselves because you're defending them and their rights and abilities. And we see this sometimes as well when an employee will defend a work colleague. So they'll be out there going, okay, I don't think they've been treated very well. I'd like to make a complaint. So all of those are examples of how we would see that occur in a business. If we go back to the stockbroker scenario, they're not always in your head probably thinking this isn't a group that goes out trying to defend themselves and others, because they're really like self-motivated by trying to get their commission from the high number of sales or share prices going up. But still, people, every job must provide an opportunity to fulfill these needs. So by belonging to an upstanding business which has great status and image, people will have that drive fulfilled, that they feel they're belonging to a well-organized and well-run and well-regarded stockbroking firm. So we can still have that built into all different types of jobs. Okay, so what are the strengths and limitations of this theory? We've talked about Maslow's theory. Now we're talking about the 4 drive theory. What's good about this? Okay, one, we're understanding that people have drive, so that's going to be a connection to that. And also we can have an ability to hear that if we have a certain type of business, we can target one drive more than another. We highlighted in those examples there that for stockbrokers, they're very driven by the drive to acquire things. So we can really focus on providing those opportunities in a business to have incentives, performance-related pay, commissions, targets, so they can acquire more goods and services and fulfill that. So we can target some of the drives. We can also set up processes and procedures in the business so that all of the drives are covered. We can do things for the acquire, learn, bond, and defend, so that people, whether they're not in that certain target group, can still be driven to achieve things and fulfill their personal drives. So we can tick off all the boxes simultaneously. We don't have to be sequential, like in Maslow's theory. All of them can be accessed at the same time. What's possibly a limitation of this theory? Well, as I've hopefully highlighted with the stockbroker scenario, not everyone is going to value all the drives equally. Stockbrokers are going to put a big focus on acquiring things and probably a little bit less on bonding and defending. But again, we're aware that people need access to all the drives, so we can provide that for them. Now, trying to work out what the drives are of people can be time consuming. Okay, does everybody need this drive fulfilled? Do they need it in more or less quantities than someone else? So that can be tricky. So for large businesses, yes, we can set up a structure so we can access all the drives at the same time. But we've got to be aware of, okay, do our airline stewards and stewardesses feel the same way as our baggage handlers? Do they feel the same way as the people at the check-in counters? Do they feel the same way as the suppliers and the maintenance crew? It's tricky to try and have every single group accessing all of those drives simultaneously. Whereas for a smaller business, it's probably going to be a little bit easier to go, okay, this is definitely the drives that are needed by our employees, and we can set up certain tasks to make sure employees can achieve those. Okay, so in summary, what's our key takeaways from this theory? Okay, so Lawrence and Nohria's 4 drive theory has 4 drives. What drives humans to achieve things and want things? So what motivates us? People are driven to acquire goods and services to fulfill the needs that they have. So the drive to go out there and get those goods and services. We have a drive to connect to other people, to bond and feel connected to either our work colleagues or our community or our family members. We're driven to learn new things, to get new skills and new abilities to try and increase our performance. And we're driven to defend those around us and ourselves from things that may threaten us. So those are our 4 drives. We can put them into a business setting and allow people to achieve them through our work environment. Okay, so hopefully that's a nice summary of that one. What's coming up next? Well, the final of the 3 theories. Okay, this is Locke and Latham's goal setting theory. So I'll see you for the next lesson.